Hello everyone, and welcome back to week 3 of our Made at Home Sunrise Edition. Again, this is brought to you by Becca from the University of Georgia Extension Office in Crisp, and myself, Amy, with Public Health from the West Central Health District here in Columbus. So if you've been following along with this series, our first week we talked about why breakfast is so important, hence the Sunrise Edition. Even if you don't eat breakfast at sunrise, it's still in the morning. So that's what we talked about first week, why our breakfast is so important and how it fuels and energizes our body for the day. Last week, we started getting into the proper things we need to fuel our body with. So we talked about fruit and veggies in particular. So this week, we're going to continue that discussion by talking about grains, protein, and dairy. So the USDA Dietary Guidelines for Americans suggest 6 ounces per day of grains, 5.5 ounces per day of protein, and 3 cups a day of dairy. And like I shared with you last week, these recommendations are generic recommendations for adults. If you're looking for something specific, whether for a child or for pregnant women or older individuals, the recommendations may be slightly different. You can look, the dietary guidelines list out some of those more specific groups. You can also refer to a nutritionist if you're looking for something specifically for you. But we'll be operating off of just these general guidelines. So grains are pretty easy to get in for breakfast, at least in my experience. You've got muffins, cereals, waffles, or pancakes, bagels, rolls. It is recommended that at least half of your daily intake of grains should be whole grains as opposed to refined grains. So before we said 6 ounces per day of grains, so 3 of those should be whole grains, and the other 3 ounces will be refined grains. And that's something you'll see on the nutrition label, which we'll talk a little bit more about next week, but that's how you can identify what type of grain it is that you're eating in your foods. And grains also freeze. Remember last week we talked about fresh versus frozen when it came to fruits and veggies. You can also freeze grains, so that's great if you want to make a batch of muffins or waffles or pancakes, and eat a few, keep some fresh, and also throw some in the freezer, and it makes a really great grab-and-go breakfast. Just pop it in the microwave to defrost it really quick, and you are ready to go. Protein. Most people are familiar with eggs. Are a pretty easy breakfast, any kind of lean meats, but people often forget about nuts. Nuts can provide a lot of protein, and they're really easy to add to your breakfast. Sprinkle them over some oatmeal. You can even throw them into one of those smoothies. Like I said last week, a lot of people think about putting fruit in smoothies. You can also put veggies, and you can also put nuts. That's a good way to pack in some protein into those smoothies to really keep your energy up for the day. And last but not least, we have our dairies, milk, yogurt, and cheeses. These, again, I think find their way pretty naturally into your breakfast. We do recommend looking for fat-free or low-fat options. There's more information about that in the USDA dietary guidelines. But these are just some more good breakfast ideas. Again, you really want your breakfast to be what we would call nutrient dense. So you don't want to be just eating anything. You're fueling your body for the day. You want to fuel it with the right things. So last week, We got in our veggies and our fruits. This week we've got grains, protein, dairy. The more of each of these different food groups you can pull into your breakfast, the more well-rounded your breakfast will be and the more sustaining it will be for your day. It'll give you more energy and help you get all those things done that you need to do, because we all know we're super busy. And now I will hand you guys on over to Becca. Y'all will be in the kitchen making yet another yummy breakfast dish.
Hi guys! Welcome back to another episode of Made at Home Sunrise Edition. So today we're gonna be making baked oatmeal. So baked oatmeal is one of those things that you can make at your meal prep day and then have it ready for one of your meals during the day. So this recipe, it's got blueberries in it, but I'm already doing some blueberries this month, so I decided to do strawberries in the oatmeal. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get your oven to 375. You're gonna grease a pan. You could also make these as muffins. So if you're adding the nuts in, you're gonna wanna go ahead and toast those for about 4 to 5 minutes on your baking sheet. And then we're gonna get right into mixing our ingredients. So this is 2 cups of oats that we're gonna add in. And then we're gonna combine our baking powder, our nutmeg, our cinnamon, and our salt in with that. Once we add that, we're just gonna give it a little bit of a whisk so that our cinnamon and our nutmeg and our salt and our baking powder all spread a little bit throughout our oats. Now once we've got that, we're going to go ahead and start adding in our milk. So our milk goes in, then we've got our eggs. I don't break eggs directly into my recipe in case something's wrong with it. So you just add it into a separate bowl. And then we're just gonna add our butter in there. So we have 3 tablespoons of butter. And so we're getting it mixed together right here. So once we've got this mixed together, we're gonna add about half of our berries in our baked oatmeal itself. That was a quick way to make some oatmeal. Have it ready to walk out the door. We're gonna let this cook for 42 to 45 minutes. But we did not put our honey in here because I forgot to get it out. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take our honey and we're gonna add it on top. And so our honey, so you could, if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of like chocolate chips. You could add some things into this baked oats. So we're gonna get the rest of our honey in here. And that is our baked oats. Now it's gonna go in the oven for about 45 minutes. We'll check back on it. So it's been about that time. Let's check on our baked oatmeal and get it out of the oven. So here is our baked oatmeal. It is complete. We're gonna let it cool down and then we can slice it into bars. Hey guys, let's talk whole wheat pancakes. So you're gonna need a bowl. You're gonna need a cup of whole wheat flour. You're gonna need a cup of your choice of milk and a tablespoon of apple cider. butter and your butter's melted. Teaspoon of vanilla. And this is our salt, our baking soda, baking powder, and our cinnamon. We're gonna add chocolate chips for fun. And then we're gonna add in our egg. So, we're gonna move over here to our stovetop and see how they cook. Hi guys, we're over here on the stovetop. We've got our pan hot, ready with some oil, and we're going to use a cup. And we're just gonna put our pancake batter onto our warm pan. There we have it. We've got our whole wheat pancakes. They have a little bit of chocolate chip, but remember you could add some fruit to it by adding those strawberries on top or adding a banana on top or on the side. So, thanks for joining us with this episode of Made at Home Sunrise Edition. Enjoy!